Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm going to start it off like I normally would a quarterback meeting. How about that? Today in history, you may not know this, you may know it, but in 1970, John Wayne won his first and only Academy Award. Was presented the Oscar for his role in True Grit. Anyway. The other thing that happened on this day in history, Ken O'Keefe learned how to work out of his basement during the pandemic and learned how to use Zoom as well. So anyway, those are, those are some of the items that we've had to handle. Our world hasn't been much different than anybody else's world. Certainly have had to work around a great many things. Like everybody else in society here in 2020. It's been, it was tough on Iowa football, with the pandemic, the racial injustice. We've had, a divisive election, a tough economy, and we had a derecho on top of all of that, but it's nothing different for anybody else here in state or otherwise. With that in mind, I'd have to say that we're excited about, the 2021, ball club and the prospects. It's great to be back on the field here for spring ball. And, the future of these young guys in our program, I think, is extremely bright. I absolutely love coaching these guys and being around this team, their attitude, their energy and effort that they bring every day. To practice, and even in the off season, whether it was in the weight room or skills and drills, has just been outstanding. It's been, it's been an absolute joy to watch and a lot of fun for a guy who's been coaching as long as I've been. I think the opportunity we have in front of us now with 4 practices behind us is even greater. We've established a routine on how to develop, the fundamentals that we're looking for as a ball club and certainly as a unit and at our position, that being quarterback. It's important that we take advantage of the next 11 practices and really put a big dent in the fundamental improvement without a doubt. I think, the schemes will come along, the system will be mastered. As we move through this, teaching process here in spring ball, and, can already see a lot of chemistry being built, a lot of trust developed, amongst the guys on the unit, and a lot of respect, being built as well. Probably even more so, leadership is starting to emerge at every position. Both, in the meeting room and on the field. And that's absolutely encouraging and something that, we will take full advantage of. With all that in mind, we still have a long way to go. There's, so much work to be done that, it has to be continually, made simple by focusing on, the things that are right in front of us and not the things that are down the road. At this point, we know what we're doing. What happens here in the next 11 practices and how this plays out will determine a lot of things, going forward into the season. And with that, I guess I'll open it up, for questions.
Thank you, Coach. The first question this afternoon is from Scott Docterman.
Hey, Ken, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Scott?
I'm doing great. I was going to make a pun about carpentry, but nothing would work.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Don't worry. I got a whole list of bad dad jokes I can go to at a moment's notice. So
I figured as much. So I thought we were going to hear one of those. Well, my question is, last year, Spencer, there was kind of a clear dividing line on timing when he threw the ball with inside of 2.5 seconds. it was complete 2/3 of the time. If it was after that, it went down dramatically. What was kind of the reasoning for that? Was that more because he was able to get into a rhythm quicker in that 2.5 second period? And what ways can you help him grow, with 3-4 second type routes that either may develop or he may need to use because of pass rush and stuff like that?
Well, if we're going to use 4 seconds, we're going to have to get a few more people up there in front as far as the offensive line's concerned. We'll have to play maybe with 12 or 13, but we'd want to stay away from that length of time for sure. Your question involves a couple of different things, but it's a great question, Scott. Number one, all different phases of our pass game are built off of time. The quick game, has basically a time allotment. The 5-step game, there's a quick 5 game, there's play action, there's a 7-step play action, there's 5-step play action, and there's a 5-step drop back too. So, all of these, got to be measured out and try to build the clock in the quarterback's head so that we can get the ball out of our hands on time. And I think everybody at this point, 2021 for sure knows that, the less you hold on to the ball, the quicker you get it out of your hands, the better chance you have of completing a pass. And you've heard me, I know, talk about it before, especially on timing routes. We'd like the ball to be out of the quarterback's hand and at least a third of the way to the receiver by the time he comes out of his cut. For it to be, where we want it to be in our offense. That's the gold standard, versus zone coverage with timing routes. Man-to-man coverage changes the whole deal to a certain degree, but the quarterback's going to have to use his feet to move through things a little bit quicker. But a guy like Spencer, and I think, ultimately this is probably where you're headed with your question, with a year under his belt, should be able to see the field, should be able to see what's going on a little bit better, move through his progressions faster, and deliver the ball with a little bit more confidence, than the previous year.
The next question, Ken, is from Chad Leistico.
Hey, Chad.
Hey, Ken. Good to see you.
Good to be seen.
I knew you had a joke in there somewhere. How are you divvying up the reps between your quarterbacks this spring? What's the plan percentage-wise, guys with ones, et cetera? Because obviously there's a lot of interest in more than just Spencer here on the outside.
Well, we're working our way through, 7-on-7, 7-on-7 and team. We're trying to, divide it up right now to get a feel for what some of the other guys can do as well. So, we've been splitting it the first 3 practices and changed it up a little bit in the 4th, and probably change it up even a little bit more here in our upcoming practice tomorrow.
Ken, the next question is from Leah Van.
Hi, Ken. I'm Leah. I'm the new reporter for the Cedar Rapids Gazette. It's nice to meet you.
All right, Leah. It's nice to meet you.
And my question is, I think last week, Ferentz was talking about how teams with veteran quarterbacks going into last year kind of had an advantage because, they didn't have spring football. And I was wondering, how does spring football provide an opportunity for you to maybe work with Spencer Petras a little bit more? Like, what are the advantages of having it, and what does he need to work on?
Well, the crazy part about last year is these guys virtually had to train on their own. We could meet with them on the playbook, and, we had a lot of great meetings on Zoom. We even had some guest appearances from Rick Stanzi, Brad Banks, Drew Tate that came on and kind of helped some of the guys out with, some of their experiences. But on the field stuff, they had to do on their own. And one of the problems that you have when they train themselves is you can't be there to correct mistakes, and see what's going on. So if you don't watch out, they'll end up training themselves incorrectly. And, I learned this a long time ago where when I coached in Division III, because the guys all had to go home and work jobs in the summer, and they pay for their loans and do get spending money for the next year. And I would try to develop a manual for those guys to work off of, but I couldn't be there. And so a lot of times when they came back to start preseason, they had trained themselves a little bit, differently than I wanted them to. And I couldn't do anything about it initially because I wasn't there to observe it. So I had to almost start over with some guys. So, that was the number one thing we were working against in the off season. And it showed up a little bit. It showed up a little bit in our preseason. I'm trying to remember which one. And we started one, then stopped, and then started another one. But and then we had to train some stuff out of our guys before we could get back and feel comfortable with what we're doing. And I think probably saw some of that in the first the first couple of ball games.
Coach, the next question is, Coach, the next question is from Tom Kakert.
Hey, Ken.
What's up? How you doing, Tom?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Wanted to ask about Alex Padilla and Deuce Hogan and just kind of what you've seen from them in the last year and what you're hoping to see from them this spring.
Okay, let's start with Alex. Alex has done a nice job. He's got pretty good command of the offense at this particular stage. Operates it well. He's a pretty accurate player. He was very accurate in last year's preseason. Even without spring ball, he did a nice job. And again continues to improve and get better. He's got really good feet. He moves through his progressions really well, and has really done well. Deuce obviously doesn't have the same command of the system at this point, but he's moving forward. He's really improved in that regard. But everything's still pretty fresh out there. As for Alex and Deuce both, the big test for these guys is going to be when they start getting blitzed. So when Phil starts coming after us on a little bit more during these practices, and especially on Saturdays when we scrimmage, that's where these guys will learn a lot about what they know or what they don't know, and how they see things, because every quarterback's going to go through this. Spencer went through it himself, and all the veteran guys that have played here forever understand exactly what I'm talking about. But usually the first tested time for a quarterback is when he gets his first double A gap blitz and he's trying to decide what he's going to do. When he's under center or whether he's in the gun, it doesn't much matter. But he's got to make some pretty quick decisions that are going to result in whether he can get the ball off or not. So, but Alex's ability to see the field and communicate is a little more enhanced than Deuce's is right now. Deuce is really throwing the ball well. He's an accurate passer. He sees the field extremely well. Also, obviously a little bigger than Alex, and that helps him. He's still a work in progress, but he's gaining ground. He's gaining ground.
Coach, our next question is from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, Ken. When it comes to kind of third downs, what's the challenge, the extra challenges that quarterbacks go through in completing third down passes versus first down? Is it just simply because the defense generally understands if it's third and mid distance and beyond, then it's going to be a pass? And then how do you help Spencer or another quarterback kind of progress and become more comfortable and be able to go through their reads quicker in that time frame?
Well, I mean, it's all pretty, Captain Obvious, right? We know what's going to happen. The defense knows what we have to do, and we know what the defense is going to try to do. And you try to simulate those. Simulate those situations in real time with real pressure, so that those guys can train their eyes to see the reads they need to see. To move their feet and their hips and their shoulders through the progressions as quickly as they can, and kind of go from there. Now, some of it obviously you can do in the meeting room by studying opponent tape, or even our own secondary, but most of it's going to happen on the field, and nothing can replace the speed at which it happens, other than actually live action. And, that's the stuff we'll benefit from the most. But, I don't know that there's no magic pill that you can take. Third down. It is, probably the hardest situation for us to practice against our own defense with, because everybody knows what's going on. Now, we sort of know what they're going to do at times as well, but it won't take them more than a couple more practices to know that we have everything installed, and they'll have a pretty good idea what we're going to try to use as well. The advantage maybe that Spencer might have, he could change a play and, or a scheme or a concept, and get us out of a concept that's dead and get us into one that's more all-purpose, or that's specifically can beat a particular coverage. But, he might be able to get us into protection that could, get a certain blitz picked up. So Alex would be able to do some of that. Deuce is, is going to be a ways away from that at this particular point. But that's the advantage, again, of a year under your belt. Spencer is with only 1 year of playing experience is pretty well advanced, maybe more advanced than any of the quarterbacks that we've had here before in that regard, because of how hard he works at studying our system, studying the defenses, and how fast his mind processes things, during the, from snap to release.
Chad?
Do you see Petras as having a significant lead, I guess, in the quarterback room right now over Alex as you progress here through spring?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're only, we're a little bit, we're approaching maybe a third of the way through or something. But the bottom line is, he's got 8 games of experience under his belt, and you're talking about, you automatically end up with an advantage in that particular, in that particular case. And the guy doesn't have the experience he's got to prove it basically every rep and every rotation that he jumps in at practice, in order to keep climbing. And Alex, certainly did that last summer during preseason and was challenging, again, and he's going to have to try to continue to do that also. And Deuce is out there competing, the same way. They don't look at themselves as backup quarterbacks. They're looking at themselves as, guys that are starters, and they're competing for the starting job. So, that's how we want them to approach the whole thing. And, Spencer's playing the same way. He knows there aren't any days off, and he needs to keep his foot on the gas in order to stay where he's at.
Coach, we'll take 2 more questions. We'll start with Leah Van.
Yeah, we talked to Spencer yesterday, and obviously his completion percentage is something that he's looking to improve. And I was just wondering, what does he need to do to improve his completion percentage? And also, is there, I mean, a lot of fans in response to that completion percentage are wondering if there is a legitimate quarterback competition this offseason.
Your hips and shoulders are where, you want to throw the ball for the most part. Okay. And when that's not possible, that you're still able to deliver the ball, to the spot that the receiver's in order to get that, get that completed. But, Spencer has already improved in that, that particular regard. 4 practices in, we can see the improvement there. The timing with the receivers seems to be, coming together. It's going to take a little bit longer, obviously, but he's seeing the play action game pretty good right now. And normally, when something doesn't go quite right, it has something to do with, what he saw possibly. In the beginning of his progression, and then where he was, where the position his body was in when he went to deliver the ball, will really affect, how accurate he is. So, but he's worked hard on all of his fundamentals, starting with his base and all of his drops, to really improve that. And that's critical for us. And we don't want to leave anything out there, no matter how small or how big it may be. We always, in our offense, no matter what the particular concept is, play action or drop back, we always talk about, we want to take our profit. We always start by wanting to take the biggest profit that we can on each and every play until the defense takes that away. And then we move through our progression and go to the next one. And again, I think, part of what we've asked Spencer to do this year too, is to slow his progression down rather than move through things so fast that he'll bypass something from time to time. Slow things down, and that's helping him see things a lot better. Again, I think the second part to your question, Leah, is there a true competition? I would say yes, there is, because everybody's splitting reps. Everybody's everybody's there right now to show us what they're capable of doing. Every throw. And every throw, every incompletion, interception, explosive play, gets recorded and looked at every day. So the body of work is really just beginning here in spring ball.
Okay, Tom Kakert has our final question.
Ken, I wanted to kind of switch gears a little bit and go to recruiting. One of the things you like to do when you're evaluating players is get out and see a kid throw in person, and you haven't been able to do that for a year. How are you going about evaluating quarterback prospects now for 2022 and beyond?
The same way you are. There's, I don't know, have you ever gone out and evaluated one time?
At camps, yeah.
Okay.
But that's about it.
That's, so we, otherwise you're just stuck, we're just stuck watching tape. You try to get some information from people that in that area that may have seen somebody throw, like their throwing coach. You talk to their high school coach, their throwing coach, anybody else that might, that actually might have an idea what these guys, are all about. Might be a coach at a different, on an opposing team that they play against, or even another college coach at a different level that somehow has seen the prospect, throw previously. But I would say that this is, it's pretty difficult to see, or to tell exactly what's going on, in all these situations, because it's, it's just tape at this stage. There's some things you can measure. There's no doubt about it. Productivity is one of them. But most of those guys are already, the no-brainers are already off the board and, already have homes. And, that, and as the quarterback business, even at the NFL level, is, trying to pick your guys can be a little dicey, especially in those top rounds, and every now and then you get lucky with a guy like, Brady, because you underappreciated the man and overlooked his playing career. So, those are things that, we might have to count on.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, and good luck with the rest of spring ball, Coach.
All right, guys. Take care of yourselves.